Well, today I want to talk about being an empath and maybe my journey about how I discovered I was an empath and how it was kind of negatively impacting me back in the day and how more positive it is right now for me, so that maybe that can support you as well to do the same changes or upgrades in your life. So I was a very sensitive child. I grew up in childhood environment that was not super conducive to being playful and just enjoying life. It was more I needed to protect myself, make sure that I knew how everybody was feeling, and if I needed to help anyone, I needed to actually know how to support them so that I would feel that, the energy in the room was better. So if my dad needed help for dinner, if my mom needed to talk, if I just needed to be quiet in my bedroom, that's what I would do. So I was actually shaping my way of being to allow or help my environment to make me feel safer. So I continued doing that when I was an adult too, right? That's how I thought was best. I remember when I was young too, it was, even if I was super sensitive, because I could read everybody's energy. People didn't have to tell me if they were feeling good or not. Like, I could see it right away. And so I learned how to read people super early on, which is now a gift. But back then, I think it was more of a protecting mechanism. And then I couldn't really be so sensitive, because I remember when my father would be mad and screaming at me, or just mad about something. He wouldn't even have to be screaming. He would get into kind of anger state, and I would fall apart and cry, and more I would cry, more upset it would become, and then it would just be a mess, and then I would leave in my bedroom and just hide for the rest of the day. So my sensitivity and my emotional part were not super welcome at home. And it was hard because I pushed those emotions from me away a lot. And I think I also created that belief that being a woman was being weak, because we had so many emotions and it was not good to show them, because that was not welcome for me. So all of that, I needed to clear that, right, when I grew up. So going back to the empathic center, because I do believe that men can be empaths as well. So it made me be super connected with my close friends. I never had really a lot of friends. I always had like 4 or 5 friends. They've changed over time, but I could really understand them. I could understand their pain. Like, I remember being super young, maybe 13, 14 years old, and I had friends or like people in my classroom that were actually in the system they were not with their parents. They were in foster care, and they would talk to me about how they were treated, what type of relationship they had with their parents, the parental figures, I guess, that they had at the time. And I could understand, like, I was listening, but then, even then, and I'm telling you, that's been a long time, and I would stay on the phone with these people, going back to bed late because they needed to talk, and I just didn't know how to hang up. I didn't know how to close the conversation. And I would think about their issues, like it would kind of consume me. What they were going through would consume me. And that happened with friends, that happened with classmates and all of that. And then I became a social worker. So it became, my client stories also came back with me. So they came back with me at home. And for a while I was single, but when I had a partner, then I would get into the relationship, because I would come back from work and I would be so depleted, because all of my energy would be siphoned by everyone around me. So everybody would just suck my energy, and I didn't know about it. And I would maybe allow a little bit them to suck my energy too, because I had also people around me that were, whether family members or friends, that would always come to me with issues but never wanted to change anything. So I would be just listening. But active listening is good, but at some point you need to do something, right? So at some point I got really depleted by conversation that were always coming back to the same thing. So at some point I understood that I couldn't be a social worker and have, for example, a partner that was really negative, and then friends that were super negative. Like, I needed to have people that would raise my vibration. I needed that, and that's a long time ago, right? I don't think I knew everything I know right now at that time, but that was part of my journey. So being an empath is great because we connect deeply with people that we love, and we're curious about what people feel and what they're going through and how we can support them and all of that. But you also can notice that you are leaking energy when you wake up one day and you feel like you're not yourself. You're super tired and you don't know why. Or you're going to a friend's place and you're coming back, or even just over there, or when you come back, it depends of your level of awareness of your energy. You can feel super depleted because they are just taking all of the energy out of you while they have a conversation with you. You can also feel, just entering in a new space, how the energy is. You can feel in your office, when you go to the grocery store, when you walk in the street, you can feel the energies around you. Empath, it means that you feel everything like 10 times more. So if somebody's angry, you feel anger a lot more. If they're happy, you feel it more. If the vibration is lower or higher, then you feel it more too. So all of those are kind of things that you can notice if you're an empath, and there are some things that you can do to help you out. For me, daily meditations, if it's 1 or 2 or 3 times a day. I know it's a lot for people that are just starting, and I didn't start 3 times a day at all. Like, it was really hard for me to understand which type of meditation I really liked. It took me years, but now I know which one I like to do, when and how, and I'll know what type of meditation also helps me, because when we are empath, sometimes we can leak also energy because people are connected to our power center, the solar plexus, and we need to cut the cords to make sure that no one is actually attached to your energy field. So that's something that's pretty good to do, a type of meditation. It's also like feeling how your energy feels around you. Do you feel that it's flowing, or do you feel like it's not? If you're super beginner in the spiritual world, you might find that a little more difficult. I think it needs more practice, but practice helps, that's for sure. So you can just try to do it a few times, and at some point you'll feel. And if you attend one of my webinars or meditations and journeys, you will see the difference between when you start the journey and at the end. There's a very different energy around you when we do the clearing. So that's one thing also that you can use. Another one is also the protection. I did a webinar the other day about protecting your energy. You can ask for divine protection. You can have crystals on you, but you need to have intentions of changing, of having that crystal or whatever you're asking, if it's a divine being or whatever, or just a cloak of protection around you. You need to have the intention of it being protective, and for how long and for what, for just repelling negative energy, these type of things. So you can do that too. And if you would really want to dive more into what it is to be an empath, how can you be more sovereign and empowered and regain power in your relationship with others? How can you be yourself without diminishing anything about you? And how to put yourself first instead of putting everyone else first. I did put everyone else first my whole life by shifting my whole being for whoever was in the room. And now I know that by doing that, I was not being authentic. I was not being myself, and I could not be happy because it was heavy. And I understand I maybe needed to do that when I was younger, but I don't need to do that anymore. So it's really being able to see what's best for you, putting yourself first. And you you can develop all the tools to not feel depleted about anything. You can go to the superstore or go to any type of stores or shopping malls. I know I used to hate these places because I would hate the lighting. The lighting would be too much for me. I would hate to have so many people talking and echoing the voices, and I would hate to have so many people around me, because when I would go back home, I would feel like depleted completely of my energy. I didn't have any energy for me anymore. So now if I do these meditation, the grounding, like connecting to earth, like the meditation of grounding, I think it took me so much time before I understood what it really meant, because I needed to understand it, not with my mind but with my heart, to understand that Mother Earth is really there to take everything we don't need anymore, and she gives us all this grounding energy where we feel we are ourselves and we don't need to change. We just fully there, because empaths are usually super highly connected with the higher beings, which is lovely. But we're on this earth, right? And we walk this path on earth, so we need to be really sure about what we're doing, how we're doing it, and making sure that we are grounded. And usually if you feel dizzy, if you feel bad, or like your health is not fully there, that's because you're not grounded anymore. So you need to ground to help yourself with that. So I'm having a lot of projects on the go in my head that I need to create, many meditations. I'll do webinars also, I think, about membership sites. I'm having a lot of projects on the go. I'll share more about those. So you can also have access to that if you're interested, or you can have access to me on one-on-one if you're interested. So message me, and just make sure that you put yourself first and use the tools that really help you to be your authentic self. So I wish you a very wonderful day, and I can't wait to be connecting with you in the next video. And don't forget to put yourself first and to love yourself for who you are. You have wonderful gifts for the world.